Freedom isn't a lifestyle, it's business architecture. Welcome to Freedom Entrepreneurship, where we are answering one question. How can I have both growth and freedom? My name is Stephan Porschik. Let's get started. To start with that, you see this is a business show and maybe a lifestyle show, but the background and what you see is going to be different. Why? Because I'm talking about freedom entrepreneurship. Yes, I'm going to talk about business. Yes, I'm going to talk about growth. I'm talking about growing, scaling your companies. We are talking about business architecture and a lot of other things. But the main thing is, okay, do I just want to have business? There are enough business shows out there. Or do I just want to talk about lifestyle? There are enough lifestyle shows out there. But freedom entrepreneurship is different. And I'm also going to share a lot about my story, and I'm going to share about how you can have both. Not either or. Not sacrificing my life or my health or my relationships because I want to grow my business, I want to be financially free, I want to have success. No, both. And this is one of the rarest things when you think about entrepreneurs, when you think about successful business owners. Unfortunately, I know a lot of business owners, and probably you will know too, who are very, very successful, also financially very successful, sometimes even extremely wealthy. But when you take a look at their health, when you take a look at their life, when you take a look at their relationships, they are divorced 2 times, 3 times, their kids are not talking to them, their health is devastated, and on and on and on and on. So for me personally, it always was a question, okay, how can I really achieve the full package in my life? How can I have it all if you want? And having it all sounds hard, is a lot of work, but guess what? It's worth it. So again, welcome to Freedom Entrepreneurship. Let me tell you a little bit how this all started. So when I started as an entrepreneur 25 years ago already, can't even think about this long time, but when I started as an entrepreneur 25 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. And I literally was failing forward for the first 10 years of my entrepreneurial journey because I did not have the right mentors. I did not even talk to mentors or coaches because I did not know that something like that is available. Crazy, I know, but it is like it is. But over the time, I was able to get some traction, and I built my companies. And I built my companies over 19 years, and I became pretty successful in my definition of success. And after 19 years of entrepreneurship, I had 3 companies, they were running, and I had a bunch of employees, I had a lot of additional contractors and strategic partners, and we were just preparing the step to the US. We opened the US market, and we already had the first companies over there as our customers. And then COVID hit. And literally within 24 hours, 19 years of building 3 companies got destroyed. And I needed to start from scratch again. And I'm not tapping into the story, my COVID story, because I talked a lot about that in previous shows and in other interviews. But what I want to share today is how freedom entrepreneurship started. So after 19 years of building something, I literally needed to start from scratch again. I literally needed to start with the groundwork again. And one of the things I reminded myself is, okay, good. What was the original reason I became an entrepreneur in the first place? And I reminded myself and I remembered, oh, freedom. Freedom was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to build companies. I wanted to do my own thing. And thinking back about the first 19 years, I built the companies, yes, but the freedom was different. So freedom for me has a lot of different facets, but one of them are, okay, I want to live where I want to be. I love traveling. I want to stay in different places. I want to work from where I want. I want to work how I want. And thinking back on how I built my companies, I was traveling a lot. I was constantly on the road, and I'm talking about 9 to 10 months every single year I was on the road. But I always was traveling to the next opportunity. Where is the next speaking gig? Where is the next stage? Where is the next trade show? Where is the next thing I need to go to probably acquire a new customer and to get attention for my companies and for my stuff and my products? And when I finally was home, maybe on the weekend, sometimes 2 weeks in a row, not at home, I was so empty that I didn't want to meet friends. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just completely drained of energy and my freedom. So in this phase where I was forced to rebuild my companies from scratch anyway, I had this big aha moment where I said, oh wow, the reason is freedom. And the financial or the growth and the scaling, okay, that's nice, but without the freedom, it's not really what I wanted to have. And so I decided, okay, now I rebuild my companies from scratch again, but now I do it the right way. And the right way brought me to what you see here. The right way brought me to this beautiful, ridiculous, cool place here in Sardinia. And you probably already saw a bunch of videos from myself on social media or on other places, or we probably even talked to each other. And I'm originally from Austria, but I live in Sardinia, in Italy in the meantime. And what you see here is not just a vacation, or I'm here for a week or for a couple of days to shoot a couple of videos and pictures. No, I live here the whole year. And why? Because I just love this place so much. I can tell you a little bit more in other shows probably. But I decided where I want to live. I decided where I want to go. I decided how my life and how my freedom and also how my private time is going to look like. And so I needed to figure out, how do I need to build my companies? How do I need to build my businesses the right way that I can have all of this here? That I don't need to sit in front of my computer every single day. I don't need to be in a studio. I don't need to be in a 9 to 5. I don't need to commute. I don't need to go into a city every single day. I just love to be on places like that, and I have the opportunity to work from here and to grow my businesses and scale from here. So what is the right way? What is the right way to build businesses? What is this architecture I'm talking about? So freedom isn't a lifestyle, it's a business architecture. What do I mean with that? When you follow this hustle culture, everything needs to be a hustle, like grind, everything needs to be hard, and I'm so good because I'm working 14 hours, 7 days a week. I'm sorry, when you don't have the growth, the health, the relationship, your freedom, that's bullshit. You cannot be proud of being busy. When you grow and scale and you have the life what you want to have, that's a different story. Then you can be proud and you should be proud. But if you just are in this hustle culture because you see it on social media and so many people are talking about that, you need to hustle, you need to grind, you need to figure it out. Yeah, of course. I also hustle and grind, but with progress and with a strategy and with the right processes and with the right business architecture behind it. So the second thing is where a lot of entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs or in the early days, are trapped is these passive income income fantasies. Very important here. When I talk about passive income fantasies, I'm not talking about strategic building passive income streams like real estate investments or investing in companies or being a serial entrepreneur or a serial investor. That's, again, strategic. That's amazing. But when you see a lot of things on the internet and in social media and a lot of so-called fake profits or so-called profits, what I more or less call the fake profits, then you will see, okay, they are chasing so-called passive income fantasies. Oh, you just need to work an hour a day and you will get rich. You just need to do this course and you will be successful. You just need to have 30 minutes a day and you will be hyper successful, and then the rest of your life you're just spending money and money and money and money and money. You just need to do this affiliate program, you just need to have this licensing thing. All these small things you just need to do, and then you have this passive income and you are free for the rest of your life. This is what I mean with passive income fantasies. Guess what? If this would work, everybody would be rich, everybody would be successful, everybody would be famous. By the way, everybody would be healthy, good looking, and had the beautiful relationship they want to have. But when you take a look around in our society, it's not really the case. So, freedom entrepreneurship, let's go back. 4 main pillars are necessary. 4 main pillars to really get to the end result. The first pillar is the business architecture. The second pillar is growth and scaling. The next pillar is AI as a freedom lever. And the last pillar is founder psychology. So let me jump into these 4 pillars just a little bit today, because in the next shows I'm going to deep dive into every single pillar. Let's talk about the first one, business architecture. What does business architecture mean? When you build your business in a way that you as the owner and the founder are the bottleneck, you will never, ever have freedom. Never. Why? Because everything is around you. Everything is around. You need to make a decision. You need to do the work. You need to check it. You need to say, okay, I approve it. Okay, so business architecture is a lot about dependencies. Removing dependencies and removing all the bottlenecks in your company. So is this easy? No, of course not. Can you do it like that? No, of course not. That's all blah blah. If somebody says, oh, you can do this in one week. No, you can't. But when you have the right process, when you have the right architecture, when you have the right strategy in place, then you can do it over time. And over time doesn't need to be 19 years until you realize you built the businesses the wrong way, like I did. This can be in months or in 1, 2, 3 years. But how cool is that? If I can build something in a year or in 3 years, and then I have the freedom for the rest of my life, and I still can grow and scale my businesses. That's what freedom entrepreneurship is about. So having the right business architecture. Again, I'm going to talk a lot more about that. Business architecture is having processes in place, having systems in place, and removing dependencies. Okay, good. Second thing is, the second big pillar is growth and scaling. So now you probably think, oh my God, Stefan, growth and scaling, how can this be a pillar? This is not even a tool. What do you mean with that? So growth and scaling are necessary to have a certain amount of freedom. Because if you do not know how to pay your bills tomorrow, I'm sorry, you will never have the freedom. If you do not know how to finance at least a little bit of your lifestyle, I'm sorry, you will never have a place like that, and you will never live in a place like that. Okay? I would love to do this without needing to work hard, but it's just not how our society works and how our life works, okay? So growth and scaling can really make a big, big difference. Growth and scaling is also important because maybe you saw that things get more expensive from year to year. Maybe you want to have a different lifestyle in 5 years from now. Maybe you want to hire some people at some point, okay? So growth and scaling, without that, it will not be possible to reach a certain point in your life. And how big this growth and scaling is, okay, that's up to you. Because you need to define where you want to go. You need to know how big your lifestyle vision is going to be. If you want to have a small place or if you want to have a big place. If you want to have one car or multiple cars. If you want to live just in one country or in multiple countries. If you want to travel once a year or if you want to travel all around the world 3 months a year, okay? So you need to define this for you. But again, we are talking about this in later episodes. So growth and scaling basically as a tool to achieve this freedom. One last example for that. If you want to have a team and if you want to build an organization, one of the ground rules and KPIs you need to have in place is you should have about 250K annual revenue per full-time employee. That's your number. So you as a solopreneur need to hit at least 250K in annual revenue before it really makes sense to add another full-time employee. Otherwise, you cannot afford another person. Otherwise, you do not have enough to really grow an organization. Okay? So you need to grow and scale to hit this number. Because if you have 20, 40, 50K annual revenue, there is no chance some serious person is going to work for you full-time because there is nothing you can offer to them. Okay, the third layer, one of my favorite ones, AI as a freedom lever. I'm talking a lot about AI and we are using AI everywhere in my companies, but also in my life. And AI is, in my opinion, the single biggest tool to really grow faster, scale faster, automate more, have more freedom if you use it the right way. One of the things my company group, the CHC group, is doing is we work with entrepreneurs and we help them grow and scale their companies with the usage of AI technology and innovation. And we can even help them get grants for their technology development. That up to 80% of their project budget can be covered with grants they do not need to pay back. But you need to implement the AI the right way. And while we were talking about AI tools 1 or 2 years ago, in the meantime, we are in a situation where we need to talk about full AI processes, where we need to have a full AI environment in our companies. And just one short example, we did a lot of corporate projects. That's another thing what my company group is doing, where we did employer branding projects for big corporate groups like Siemens, Toyota, the Volkswagen Group. And we help them increase employee engagement, strengthen productivity, have a better leadership and corporate culture. So by doing these employer branding projects, on average, we needed to invest 10 hours per project for documentation, executive reports, and just writing all the things down. We implemented AI into this process, and we reduced the work from 10 hours per project down to 20 to 30 minutes per project. And we scaled it over 54 projects within 18 months. Now you can imagine how big AI as a freedom lever is if you implement it the right way. And now coming to the fourth pillar, the founder psychology. The founder psychology is everything about mindset, about having the right things between your ears, having the right approach. So mindset is definitely something where I personally needed to work the hardest on it. When I started as an entrepreneur in the meantime 25 years ago, I had, like I mentioned in the beginning, no idea what I was doing. I really needed to start to work on myself. I really needed to start harder on myself than I needed to work on my businesses. So founder psychology is about having the right attitude, having the right skill set, having the right mindset, being on the same page, knowing what my vision is, where I want to go in my life, knowing about myself, what do I really like, what do I really love, why do I do that? Is it because that? So for me, it's definitely one of the big things is I can be here, I can stand here, I can live here. So my house is literally just down here, okay? Literally just down here, that's my house, yeah? That's one of the reasons I do that. Another reason for myself is I love to be in nature, I love to go mountain biking, okay? Good, wonderful. So these are reasons for me, yeah? But again, founder psychology is a very complex and big topic. And we are also going to talk about that in the next couple of shows. So for now, until the next show, I'm going to give you your first assignment. Think about where is your biggest dependency? Where is your biggest bottleneck in your company at the moment? Figure out where it is and then start to work on that. Is it maybe delivering? Is it leads? Is it sales? Is it cash flow? Is it your personal time, what you have available or not available? Is it resources? Is it skills? What is your biggest dependency in your company? And this is where you start, and this is where you have the first step towards freedom entrepreneurship. Thanks for today, and see you in the next show. Stephan Porschik, Freedom Entrepreneurship. See you soon.